everybody, and welcome to another exciting day of 31 Days of Indie Horror. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and today we have a lovely, lovely guest here. Please introduce yourself, ma'am.
I'm Tina Louise.
Hey, how are you doing, Tina?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So I had you for this movie, and this movie is I had never seen it, and I haven't seen most of the ones I picked on here, and that's kind of the fun part, is watching it the day of and then talking about it. And it was a lot more brutal than I was expecting it to be for some reason, you know. Um, so
Yes, I
uh,
agree.
what was so? Are these the type of movies you watch at all, or no, not at all?
Well, my favorite genre is the slasher gore. So it typically is, but this had a little bit of a twist to it. It had a little bit of I believe it had that action sequence in it that
Yeah,
it had like gore, but it had a little action sequence in it. So it kind of gave it a different flair and I liked it.
yeah, I like that kind of stuff. Like I like horror, but I like action. I like comedy. I like so if they mix a lot of that stuff up, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, me
So,
too.
some people don't like it. They don't want to mix genres. If it's horror, it's horror. If it's comedy, it's comedy. Or action, action. Don't do that. But I'm always down for that because it just makes it a little bit different than what we normally watch.
Yes.
And so yeah, so Cry Havoc is the movie, and it's basically the okay. So IMDb has a uh like a version of it or whatever, what it's about, basically their info, synopsis, and their synopsis is terrible, by the way, because it's exactly it's the movie, but it's like sort of in a nutshell, but it
Hmm.
says a rogue police officer takes on a serial killer with who murders at call. Like that just sounds
Oh.
that sort of
Mm-mm.
doesn't really give you the real flair of what it's about. So we're going to go into what it's really about. But that is sort of like the gist of actually what it is. If you boil it down to, it's a rogue police officer, who's basically looking for his daughter. And don't worry, we do spoilers here. So if you know,
Okay.
you can
I was
spoil.
just gonna say, can I do spoilers?
There's going to be some.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's basically a police officer played by Robert. I want to say his name's Bronzy. Um,
Ronzi.
yeah, Bronzy. Yeah, Bronzy. He's sort of known now as looking very much like another
Charles
famous.
Bronson.
Yeah, and I don't like his name sounds sort of similar, and
Yeah.
I don't know if he changed his name, if that's his real name or not. It's an interesting like thing to think about. Like maybe he changed his name to make it sound Bronson,
Yeah.
but probably not. I think that really is his name, and he just happened to look very much like Charles Bronson. And some people were like, you know what, we're gonna we're gonna make a movie, and we're gonna make tons of movies with you, uh,
Yeah.
because
He even
he,
has his mannerisms. I noticed.
yeah, I wonder if he was like a Charles Bronson like lookalike guy at like places, or whatever. And he just got discovered, and they're like, well, you could take those mannerisms and that look and kind of turn you into a movie star,
Yes.
independent film star. But he's really good, and he kind of talks like that or whatever. The only
Yes.
the only thing I could say is I was sort of annoyed by his "Have you seen this girl?" Like, you know,
It was very repetitious.
it was after a while. I was like, "All right, come on, let's." And it was kind of comical because he was sort of asking them when they're like tied up and stuff, have
And
you
like
seen?
really out of it. It's
Yeah,
like they could have been dying or half like dead already. And he's actually asking them still.
yeah. It was like, and they were like going, "Oh, I can't, I can't go on." And have you seen this girl? dude, dude, I think right now you need to get them some help, and then maybe they can help you. But like eventually, I guess he wore that one girl down, and she was like, "Yes, I seen her. Just get me out of this freaking thing," so I can,
Yes.
and um, So anyway, so the whole movie is like this guy basically looking for his daughter, and I don't even know, like, it doesn't explain how he got to the, like, how he figured out that that's where everything was, where his daughter was, and all that stuff. Like, it never explained that, did it? Like, it's sort of, he just sort of you saw him following, or you saw him following them in his motorcycle.
Yeah, I think he got a tip that she was coming out there for like to be a participant in their movie thing that they were doing. He for I think the mother or I don't know, something like that. He got like a tip, and then that's what led him, because you know, being a detective, so that's what he kind of was trying to do his detective work and
He
just
did.
seek it out. Yeah,
He
he's
figured it
pretty good
out,
at. Yeah.
though, I mean, like, I guess he got to the point, like, where he was able to take his, he was in a, I guess he was in a car, then he was in his motorcycle, and
Yeah.
then he was able to go out and drive up there or whatever. Which I always love that line where he's like, "Do you know how to drive a motorcycle?"
Most.
You know, like or
Do you know how to
whatever.
drive a car?
Do you know how to drive a car? Next I was expecting him to go, "Do you know how to fly a plane?" You know, that should have been the next line after the car got blew up. He looks over and goes, "Do you know how to fly a plane?" This is, so we're running out of options here because I don't have a spare tire. You know, um,
Mhm.
that might have been kind of funny. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know. This movie was sort of, I mean, it was very serious. It was a very serious film. The only thing I really didn't like in it, honestly, was I understood Richard Tyson's part, which he's like main guy. He's the bad guy. He's the,
Yeah.
main bad guy. But he really didn't have, like, after he like kidnapped the main girl, that was it. You never saw him again. And I don't know if that was like a script thing, if they just were like, yeah, we don't need him anymore. Like, the bad guy is the serial killer is killing everybody.
Yeah.
But, like, it would have been nice, if he came at the end or something, like, it would have been even like, it would have been even better if he got killed by his own guy or something. Like, wouldn't that have been a cool
Yeah.
scene? Like, if the killer that he all set up for got, like, slashed by
Yes.
him at the
Got
end.
revenge on him. It's like, yeah, you've been
Yeah,
telling me what to do. Now
yeah,
I'm gonna finish you.
you're telling me what to do. You're putting me in this, forest, and I can't leave. Actually, I mean, can he leave? Like, do they try to stop him if he, like, goes, what am I doing here? Let me leave. Like, he doesn't have anything
I think
stopping
he's
him.
I think he's programmed to do what he tells him to do, and then I think he just stays there. I think that's what the whole thing about it was. He would only do the things that they told him to do, or go wherever he told them to go.
Well, when we first meet the girl in the beginning of the movie, the girl that's the daughter, uh, like, I thought it literally looked like a video game, and I thought
Yeah, it was
that's
a lot of CGI looking stuff.
right. And I thought, oh man, so okay, so this guy's, because he was at his computer, right? I was like, oh, he's playing a video game,
Good game.
and
Yeah.
no, he wasn't. He was just watching this dude or whatever going around killing the woman. But I was like, this would have been really cool if it were like sort of. Have you seen the new movie Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds?
Yes, I
You
just
know,
saw that.
when, like, he's kind of stuck in, like, video game world. Wouldn't it
Yes.
have been cool if, like, because that's where I thought this was going, was like, this was a video game, and the
She
creature
woke
was
woke
like
up in a world.
in a world where it's a video game, and
Yeah.
now that guy has to, is trying to kill her or whatever, and and the guy was playing it or something. That would have been cool, but that was not what this movie was serious, and kind of weird. Like, I got the whole backstory of the prisoner A563210 whatever, whatever his prison number was. But it's sort of like, I'm sorry, you might be rich, but no, I don't think any warden would actually be bribed enough to let you have a serial killer and let them loose into the world, like, because otherwise every rich person would bribe people so that they can
Yeah.
have their own serial killer, like that's just I don't think that would happen, especially if you were just in that prison yourself for doing bad things. I don't think the warden would be like, oh hey, I remember you. I'm gonna just let you have this guy for $5 billion or whatever, whatever. And
Yeah.
he didn't even seem that rich. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like you because it would have to be like $5 billion. Like, there's no way he would do it for like less than $1 billion to let a fucking serial killer and one that didn't seem to understand anything, like other than
Yeah.
killing, you know. So I think that was a little bit wrong with the script. I don't know. Did you find any things like that? Were there any things that you were like, about?
Um, I d- there was a few things that annoyed me. I think that I didn't like that he like kind of like disemboweled everybody. Like that was like his go-to. Like I don't know. Like it was like
Uh, no, I get it. Like that's just it's such a silly kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna disembowel you. That's gonna be what I do for my kills. Like it would have been cool if he
yeah.
had more kills than that. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't mind like the skull crushing. That was kind of like really gory, and I mean, I don't mind the disembowel, but I mean, I think that was like as soon as he recaptured everyone, that was like something that he was just like trying to do, like with everybody. I don't
Yeah.
know if maybe he was instructed to do that. Maybe he was programmed to do that. That's what I was thinking. As I'm like, why isn't they switching it up, the kills? He's doing the same thing as that was he's programmed to do, or
I love how
that
you
was a
keep
little
saying
thing.
program because like it makes me thinking like he's some kind of like robot or something. But he sort of is, I guess, the way he
Yeah,
acts.
that guy was kind of his puppeteer behind the scenes and just orchestrating what he was, telling him to do. So I kind of felt like he was programmed. Like he went like from different modes to, it was like,
Mhm.
okay, now do this, do this. It was kind of like maybe that Free Guy kind of concept because there was actual players kind of instructing these people what to do, you
Mhm.
know? So it's kind of that, you know,
Exactly.
kind of
They're the
maybe a player in a game, basically.
Yeah, he's kind of made into like a player for like how because what I was thinking of when I was watching it was Friday the 13th had a video game and you could play as Jason, you know. So I thought of that,
Yes.
and I thought it looked very much like that at times. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool if that's the route that they're going with it, but it didn't seem like that. That this would be a pretty fun video game if they made one into it. Like I don't think it did well enough where people would be asking for a video game necessarily, but you could always make one, you know.
I think that would be a pretty cool concept.
Yeah, you could always get independent contract. That would actually be pretty cool if you could get like an independent video game person to launch the video game version of your movie, and then that would draw attention to the movie and help you with getting funding for sequels. That's an idea that a lot of people, I guess, do these days because even if a movie doesn't do well, if it
Hmm.
gets attention somehow or another, it does well, you know? So,
Yes, of course.
uh, so, so what did you think of the actors? Did you like the actors? Did you think some of them were great? Some of them were, like, what were your thoughts?
I like the acting. I think the the reporter, she was good. I liked her. Um, I don't know about his daughter. I don't know about her, but she didn't really have too much dialogue. But I liked him, except he had those few things that
Yeah, we were just talking
you
about it
know
earlier.
yeah, yeah. Um, Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad acting, you know.
Mm.
I mean, I enjoyed it, you know. I mean, I was very interested to see what would happen next. So I
Yeah,
wasn't mad at it at all. So
good, good. So I was watching like yeah, so the reporter, I thought she was really good.
yeah,
And since she was like sort of the main girl at first, which you were thinking, oh man, she's like, if anyone's gonna escape other than Robert Bronzy, then it would be her. And then she doesn't make it. Spoiler alert, if if you already knew we were spoiling it. But she doesn't make it. She gets disemboweled, and it's you know, it was sort of it sort of annoyed me. I'm like, are you in the water? Swim. Like it didn't look like, I don't know, maybe he knew how to swim, maybe he didn't, but at least try.
yeah, of
Like
course,
you're not gonna survive if he catches you. Like that's just
yes,
and she didn't because he caught her. So if she stopped and then just stood there and then got grabbed by him, and I'm like thinking she could have just started swimming and just tried to get to the other side. Like even if she drowned or whatever, at least she wouldn't have been disemboweled by this guy. Like I don't know what's worse, drowning or whatnot, but I mean it's at least trying to survive. And
but
she
yes,
wasn't able, and plus she was grabbed by him before he chopped off or like started chopping at her leg. She could have just kicked him because she was like kind of, like I felt like she had a good chance to just swing over there and just kick him and stuff. Maybe would have dropped her, but I mean, the story had to be that she had to die, probably mainly so that the audience can go, oh, wait, that means
yeah, we
anyone can
didn't
die.
expect. Yeah, we like it wasn't expected. Yeah, I wanted that to be the outcome that she would survive, but I guess it kind of goes along with the story that he had to rescue the daughter. So that kind of went in line with that.
I
So
completely agree because but see, that was the other thing is you don't really get to know the daughter, much. And that might go back with your acting thing of that she really didn't impress you. And that's mainly because we only see her in the beginning and we see her at the end. We really don't see her during the middle of the movie much, if at all.
mhm.
And because the whole time he's, have you seen this girl? Have you seen this girl? It would have been hilarious if you walked up there and goes, have you seen this? Oh, wait, never mind. Like you're her. Okay.
Yes.
But he finds her, and I'm like thinking she's what is it? She's sort of been tortured, she's been treated like crap on this thing, and yet like when she realizes, oh my god, my dad's actually here, he's come like I thought he would. Um, she I don't know. I'm trying to remember like exactly how it happened, but I know he let her go and then he fought him and told her to go, right? Like that was what happened. He fought Havoc, and then you don't see what happens because he pushes him, and then Havoc gets out, and the ending just pissed me off,
Yeah, that really pissed me off.
right?
I mean,
Because
I don't know if they were leaving it open ended for a sequel, but I was very annoyed. I wanted more after that.
yeah, we just want to know if she was alive, or whatever. She survived.
And if he survived as well, because
If he
you don't know.
survived, yeah, you don't know.
Mm,
You don't know. You know he did not come up, and Havoc did. Also it's really weird that the guy was about to shoot the girl and Havoc kills the guy,
mhm.
that's gonna shoot her. And I'm like thinking, is he letting her leave or is he but see that's the thing. It leaves you going, I wonder what happened. It's that sort of bait and switch of like, yeah, we're gonna open it up so we can get sequels. Problem with that is like you have to tie it up, you know, and
Yes.
because what if you don't get a sequel? Then you just pissed off your audience because now they just want to know we want closure on that. So maybe they got to do a short film or something and kind of tie everything up. So at least the audience knows if she's she made it or not. Um, but Rene Perez, who did, I think that's how you say his name. Rene Perez had done this, had done Death Kiss, had done a few other movies, and some with Robert, whatnot. He's a really good director. Like there was a lot of great. When I was noticing a very great cinematography, um, even the CGI stuff, it didn't bother me because I automatically thought video game, so I got
Yeah,
it.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Um, the area that they used for the compound and the woods was very cool. Like I was impressed by the woods themselves because I was like, how did they find this like area? That was like completely. It seemed to be completely out in the middle of nowhere. And they had free range to do whatever they wanted there. You know, could
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
so could you imagine walking around like or driving down that road, whatever, and seeing people with guns or, because you had to know that they couldn't have like blocked that road off. So they just had to shoot around when people weren't driving by. So like, could you just imagine tourists or people like, or people residents that just driving by and see like just these guys with guns over at this car or like things like that. Like those are the kind of things that I love to think about because it makes me wonder if there's like a because I watched this and I showed it was on Tubi. So I'm not sure how you watched it, Tubi or something else.
Yeah, I watched it on Tubi.
Yeah, so I didn't see it on DVD or anything. And it would have been cool if they have like special scenes or something. Like those are the things I like is if you wonder if there's people driving by or if the cops stop by and because you've acted in probably a few horror films in your life, like that's a potential hazard that can come with the job, is that
Yes.
the cops could show up at any time and be like, what's going on here, you guys have permits.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I did like I did like the amount of gore in that, because it wasn't striking as like an actual like gore movie, but it had a lot of that gore concept. I like that about that.
I love the gore too. I thought the gore was the it was well done because it wasn't like disgusting or gross. I mean, maybe a little bit of the disemboweling was a little like, I mean, they had like sausage links that they're like pulling out of her, or whatever. It was just like, oh my goodness, I just wanted to eat one of them, Like I thought that would have been hilarious. If that was like how he was surviving, was he was ripping out people's, intestines and then eating them, you know.
That's
Um,
so funny.
yeah. But yeah, he was pulling out these things, and I mean, they look good, you know. Obviously,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
joking.
they were special effects were good. I like the skull crushing. That was pretty good.
Yeah. And I like their weapons, man. Like that freaking like big ass knife he had or whatever, like thing. I
Like
just
a jagged saw,
yeah.
whatever it
Like,
looked like. I don't know, some man-made kind of saw.
and she was a badass with that axe. Like I was just like, I mean, though I knew when she tried to fight him, like it wasn't happening. Like
Yeah.
I mean, even Bronzy had a difficult time with that guy because I think Bronzy's a short guy or something, but that dude was tall as hell and big and
Massive, very
yeah,
massive.
he was definitely a good. And it kind of reminded me a lot of like going back to Friday the 13th. It kind of reminded me a lot of that. You know,
Yes, he had that kind of uh statuesque of that the same type
and
of
he
look.
and he was bald and he was and he had just a mask that was different than the hockey mask, but like you could sort of see it was sort of like a hockey mask-ish type thing. So you could tell there was a lot of it was like Friday the 13th meets Death Wish. Like that's literally what this movie was.
I
Yeah.
was thinking that as well because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, it has this action flair to, slasher kind of thing. And I don't know. I think it worked. I think it worked pretty well.
Yeah, it was a very cool aesthetic. I liked the I liked all of it. Like I thought it was really cool and fun and sort of enjoyable considering I've seen these movies sort of recently and through the 31 days of indie horror especially where a lot of them are just sort of like mean spirited and not fun because you don't really like the characters or whatever that you know I've always liked silent killers, ones that don't talk,
Yes.
Jason, Michael Myers, that kind of thing cuz I mean, it's to me it's creepier because if they don't talk, they're not gonna tell you their plan. They're just
Yeah.
gonna look at you and say, "I'm gonna kill you." Like that's my
It's very
plan.
unpredictable.
Exactly. And that guy was very unpredictable. Especially I always thought he was gonna kill every single one of these chicks. Like every time he walked up to them, and sometimes he was just like playing with them or something. I don't know. Going back to maybe playing with
Well,
his
I
food.
well, I think that that was the guy that he loved torture. So I think that that was the reason why he orchestrated this whole thing to, lure these girls out there to make them believe they were going to be on the show. And it was like a torture show. And I think that was that was he used his power to do that to see this guy, you know, he instructed him to torture these women. I think.
Yeah. But see, I wish there was more with that. I get it because we get to see inside this guy's house, or whatever his a compound area. We get to see that there's obviously there's cameras all over the place, and that was mainly so it looked like a reality show that they were always constantly filming. They mentioned that but I just wish there was more with understanding the purpose other than, yeah, I want to, this is art to me, like I don't, you know, I just wish there was more because I felt like
Yes.
there wasn't enough substance to the main bad guy, the big bad guy.
Mhm.
Richard Tyson's character. I just, and it doesn't explain at the end like what happens with the whole experiment because like mostly it was to lure these girls out so they can get killed and then he puts them into a snuff film, I guess, whatever sort of thing because that's what she talks about, the snuff film, right? Ooh, I think we got you on mute here.
Ah,
Okay.
sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah, so it's like a snuff film that they have.
Yes, that's what she was saying. And he was trying to say, no, it's not. That's
Yeah,
not what I'm trying to do here.
yeah, he's trying to say it's art. Basically, it's an art
Yes.
piece and stuff. And I'm like thinking, I mean, murder is not art. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Some people might say it is or whatever, but it's not. It is definitely not. It's disgusting and disturbing. And I don't know. See, that's funny coming from a guy who likes horror, but I don't consider when I watch these horror films, I'm not going for it going, oh my God, the artistry of that serial killer that's murdering everybody. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yes.
generally speaking, we want one of the characters to live, right? And the bad guys to die. Um, Even when you watch something like The Devil's Rejects, you're not rooting. I mean, I'm not rooting for them to live. I want them dead at the end of it. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna enjoy it when it gets to that point where they're getting killed or whatever, until they bring three from hell. And then it like I haven't watched that yet, but I'm confused as to how, like, unless it's a flashback, stuff that it could even work, because I don't know. Spoilers for Devil's Rejects if you haven't seen that. Um, so have you seen Devil's Rejects?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. But yeah. So anyway, the whole point is murder is not art, but this guy is trying to say that so that when he's, I guess, doing his snuff films, it doesn't feel like he's just murdering people. He's doing it because he, the murder is something more, or whatever. I don't know. Like it's just ridiculous. It's just like a rich guy who decided he was going to go and kill people, and get away with it
Yeah.
because he's not actually the one doing. He's like Charles Manson, you know.
Yes.
He's orchestrating other people to murder people, including like the soldiers who are there to make sure nobody sneaks on the property and things like that, which there were a lot of those, which there were more than I thought, at first. Like, because I mean, he was going after a bunch, with his gun, with his little teeny tiny gun at first.
Yeah.
And that's where the video game aspect also came into play, because there's one scene where he shoots the guy and then takes his gun, and it reminded me of my video games back in the Nintendo days, where you would get, if you shot somebody, you might be able to take their weapon, from them and stuff, and be able to grab that, like Contra, and stuff like that. But so it had a little bit of that feel to it, you know. I
Yes.
I don't know. So all in all, I mean, did you really enjoy this movie? Like, what did
Yeah.
were you
I mean, it held my attention. I wanted to see what happened next. I wasn't bored. So yeah, I liked it.
that's the big thing, honestly, especially with indie films is, am I bored? Like, is this, because, no offense to indie film, because I make them, but I try to make them fun and enjoyable. There are times where I watch these movies and I'm like, oh my God, they're 2 hours long and they're just slow and nothing happens for 2 hours. That's happened on this, 31 days of indie horror. I'm like, good God, can we hurry it up? Like, get to the
Yeah.
point.
Some slow burn movies turn out to be the best movies. I've learned that with a lot of movies. You just gotta hold on for a bit sometimes.
What would you say is like a slow burn that you recommend?
Um, I can't think of one off the top of my head. But there's just so many that
There's
I mean,
there's a lot. There's one I haven't watched yet that I've heard good things, but I've heard it's slow, is House of the Devil. So I
I
want to
haven't
see.
viewed that yet.
And the Innkeepers is another one that's slower, and I think it's by the same guy.
Oh, that is actually yeah, I watched that. I actually own that. I I don't know if I would recommend it. Um
See, I tried watching it, and I was kind of bored by it, but I want to like sit down and rewatch it at some point, because a lot of people do recommend it. Some people don't, because they're not, and I'm probably going to give it another shot and probably still not like it, because I'm really one of those people that, like, I have ADHD. So if a movie's not moving,
yes.
I'm like, my mind is going, I need to do something else, like,
That was probably one of the um top slow burn movies that I've seen ever.
right. And this movie wasn't really a slow burn at all. Like, this had
No.
no, this was very quick. It gets right to the point from the very opening scene to the ending. And the whole time you are wondering, is this girl gonna survive? And I was like thinking, okay, so she did this because of, like, greed in a way. She wanted to be famous. She wanted to get her big start. So she thought the best way to do that is to interview a famous killer, like a guy who's on FBI's most wanted list. I mean,
Yes.
I, I don't know if I would trust going to a house by myself with no phone. They take her phone, they take her tablet, they take everything that can communicate with the other side. And she's then asked to take her clothes off, so that she can put on what he wants her to wear, which was weird.
Yeah,
But
it was a bad sign from the beginning.
I mean, well, at that point, when she was in when she was in there, she was screwed. Like, she should have. That lady was giving her every way out, and she should have taken it. Now, she didn't because we needed this for the story. Like
Yeah.
it would have been a shitty movie if she was like, "No, I'm done."
No,
Movie's
I
over.
declined the interview. I'll turn back now. I'm good.
Actually, it would have been okay if she had done that for herself because, later Robert Bronzy didn't need her. Like, if you really think about it, she was really not needed, you know?
No, she wasn't needed.
No, because, like, she never saved Robert's life or anything. So she was just kind of there to just sort of be in the way of him, like,
Yes.
but that scene was one of the funniest scenes I'd seen in a while because, and I don't know if this is intentional or non-intentional or whatever, but that scene where he's talking to her, it was almost like he was talking to a foreign language to her because they were both like talking. It was almost two different scripts. Like she was saying stuff and he was like, do you know where I can find my daughter? Do you know where I can find this girl? Right? And she's like, wait, what? You're a cop. Can you just get me off this island? Oh no, where's this girl? I need to find her. I'm just
Yes.
like, just went on, and I was just like, this is sort of funny because I don't think it was meant to be funny. Like I think it was meant to be a serious scene, and maybe it wasn't, but it was so weird and out there that I was just like, okay. And then he does this for every other girl, that he meets, no matter what. So it's just so strange. It was sort of a strange little movie, but fun. I'm
Yeah, it was
wondering,
fun.
where is Bronzy from? Do you know? Did you look that up or anything?
Um, I'm not sure.
Like Italy? I want to say Italy.
I think Spain. Spain, I
Spain?
believe.
Okay,
Right.
Spain. That makes sense. He's a Spanish man who looks like Charles Bronson. So they're just like, let's.
It's a very striking resemblance.
I know. I showed my father that today. The picture of and he thought that was Charles Bronson.
Yeah,
You
he
know,
even sounds like
he's. I wonder if he worked on that because he also has a little bit of
probably.
an accent. So you took his accent and then sort of made it sound as Charles Bronson-y. Maybe that's where he got his name, Bronson-y, Bronzy. I don't know. But yeah, made it sound as Charles Bronson-y as he could, and I think it
Yeah.
did. Like I think he does a phenomenal job. I look forward to watching other movies by him. Actually, I saw him and I might have met him at a horror convention. So my buddy Jeff Miller, he's a producer. He worked on Death Kiss, and they were actually had a table at Texas Frightmare, and Death Kiss was, a bunch of Death Kiss people were there, and Gary Jones, who I think worked on it or something, was there, and then I got to meet. I got to see him. I don't know if I actually went up and talked to him because I didn't know him. Like sometimes you just don't go up to random people that you don't know and just like, hey, how are you doing? It's a little weird. And even at a horror convention, it's a little weird. So I was just like, that's kind of cool. I got to see him up there, but I didn't. All I knew was he had done that movie Death Kiss, and I think he had already shot or was shooting Cry Havoc. So, but that's. I mean, it was really cool. It was neat to. It's neat that he's out there, doing his thing. Like I think more people should watch his films. I don't know what you think, if you agree or not.
Yes, I mean, it made me want to see. Oh, I want to watch a few of his other things now.
Yeah, definitely. Was there anything
I
that
think
what?
no, I was going to say I think he does a lot of more action. I don't think horror is typically his genre though.
No, and I think the only reason he probably signed up for this was because of the action.
Yes.
Like I don't. It's weird. You see people like Chuck Norris or Steven Seagal or these action stars, and they do a horror film every once in a while. Jean-Claude Van Damme, all of them done horror movies like at least one once, and
Yes.
they're mainly it's action stuff, you know, like it's got a little bit of action in it. So I don't know. It was a fun movie for that. It was a fun movie for the action side of everything. You know.
Yes,
So
I enjoyed that part.
yep, for sure. Was there anything that we kind of didn't discuss that you wanted to make sure that we said?
Mm, I think we covered a lot of the high points of the movie. A lot of the spoilers.
Was there any like low points? Was there any scenes like you were just like, like other than the ending, which we discussed? But other than that, was there anything like honestly, and this is coming from a dude, which is weird, I guess, but I almost felt like the nudity was unnecessary and sort of like
Oh,
weird in a way. Like it almost felt like it was made for that, like
it was kind of voyeuristic. I think it was from that guy wanting to do that because I was kind of confused as like, is he was kind of like shocked when he opened her shirt. Like,
yeah,
did you see that? Like he
I
was look
did.
like what the heck am I looking at? Like, because he was instructed to do it. Because it was kind of like I think that was like the voyeuristic part of it. Maybe he was instructing him to do that. So I was just like,
Hmm.
what is that? That's what I
Interesting.
was thinking.
No, I never thought about that way. That okay,
Because
that
did you
might
see? Because he was like, oh my God, like
yeah, he
what
freaked out
are those
about it.
things?
I know, he kind of freaked out about seeing her breasts and then it was sort of like it happened and then he kind of jolted back and then I'm like thinking is that his kryptonite is like seeing nipples? I mean, I don't know what the deal was. That was weird. But like
And then I thought he was gonna just like snip him off, and then and then he,
well, he didn't, and that would have been interesting if like whatever. And then she got like everybody can put like shirts on or whatever. I like where did that girl get a shirt? Like it was like all of a sudden she was able to get a shirt. And like she had no shirt or whatever, or her shirt was like ruined, and then she went and got and found a shirt in the woods.
it
Uh,
was just like hanging up like on a line, and I was
right.
like, she just pulled it off, like, oh.
Why was there a shirt in the tree? Like I didn't get that. Like I wanted more backstory and why there's tree shirts out there, shirt trees in the woods. Like what in the world? Why was there shirts there? But there was, and mainly probably so that she didn't have to run, basically
Yeah,
bearing her breasts the whole time. But it still made no
yeah.
sense.
Maybe they set it up like that because it was kind of like a game, a show, kind of like they made like so she can. That's what I was thinking. Like, why would it be like strategically put there, like so she could grab the shirt? And I don't know. That's what I was thinking.
She got a power up if she got the shirt or something,
Yes, you know.
got a new life, you know. Didn't really last that long.
Yeah.
She was screwed from the beginning. Poor girl. And she was trying to get away, like, oh, I think I've got enough. When she was talking to Richard Dyson, she was like, yeah, I think I got enough from you. I'm gonna leave right now. And he was like, oh no, stay. You're like, how could she not tell she was gonna become one of his victims wearing one of those stupid costumes and shit? Like she should have just been like from the very start, like once they said you can't bring a cell phone in there, yeah, something shady's gonna happen to me. Like I'm not gonna get out of this alive. But
Yeah. Like,
whatever.
how are you going to do an interview? Like, what are you going to do your interview on?
And they at first they wouldn't let her bring like any kind of recording, so she had to basically beg for a video recorder, and I'm like thinking just to have proof. And I mean, there was no way that dude was gonna gonna let all of his secrets out. Like why the hell would he do that? Like, you know. But I guess if she didn't know where, actually she would know, because by the end of it they'd have to take her. She wouldn't have survived, period, because if they brought her to that place, right, because they showed her where basically, this dude, where this dude is, right, before
Yeah.
they said this is, basically where it is. uh if you want to back out now, you can, that kind of thing. If she had backed out, they probably would have killed her, because she already knew sort of where, where everything, all the cops, the SWAT team, everything could have been there, and that show's over, you know.
Yeah.
So nobody's allowed to know where this compound is or whatever.
Yeah.
My big question is, how do you? Okay, so you see it in all these movies, these action movies. There's always that really nasty millionaire or whatever that runs these operations and stuff, and then he hires these military guys to run the place and make sure nobody comes and visits. But like, who, like, how do they find these like soldiers who are like, oh, fuck the military and fuck, the fact that I was serving my country, I'm about to serve this asshole for, what I mean? Like, I don't know how they find those people, like, I wonder if there's a, place online, black market or something, you can find these people or something. I don't know. Because it happens in every 80s movie. If you ever notice, like action 80s movies, Commando, the dude was like a big time, whatever, drug person. He had all these, soldiers just, fighting Arnold Schwarzenegger. Same thing, just
Yeah.
different movie. But it's a staple, and I'm always wondering, where do they find these people? They have to like look out for them and be like, oh, let's recruit this guy or this guy, and why would they want to work for that guy anyway? I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
know. He was kind of slimy anyway.
He was, well, Richard Tyson does a very good job playing that kind of role. Like,
Oh
um,
yeah, I thought he was great. Yeah.
he was in you ever seen Kindergarten Cop?
Yes.
Yeah, he was the father of the boy in the beginning of the movie or whatever, that uh and some people hate that scene, and I don't like it either, where he actually holds up a gun up to the kid's head, like his own son's head. He's gonna blow his own son's head, if the cop tries to stop him. It's kind of fucked up. It's like the worst of bad guys, kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's really good at that, and he's really good at playing slime balls. It's just, it sort of was like kind of, I don't know, kind of like, why would anybody want to actually work for this guy? And especially if you're getting too close to, you could potentially get too close to this serial killer that doesn't seem to care that you guys work for, or whatever. If you get too close to him, he's going to kill you.
I
Yeah.
guess he's this most powerful person, and I guess everyone has a price. So,
Mm-hmm.
and he's willing to pay it. So I guess that they'll be willing to do anything, right?
You can bribe a warden, I still don't buy that. I still don't buy that, but I guess you have to for story's sake if you want to continue watching it, but it's so silly, because that just would not happen.
Yeah.
But anyway, all in all, thank you so much for coming on the show and chatting
You're
with
so
me
welcome.
about this, and I'm glad you sort of, like, you enjoyed it. Like, it wasn't something, because once again, when I watch these movies or whatever, I have no clue. This could have been a great movie. This could have been a huge stinker. I think it was somewhere in between. It wasn't the best movie in the world, but it did keep my attention. It did make me enjoy a lot better. So I had a fun time.
I definitely agree.
I'm
I think
looking.
it was middle of the road. It
Yeah,
held your attention. You wanted to know what was happening next.
but
So,
it wasn't like something I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna scream. Everybody go
yeah.
check out Cry Havoc, which,
Yeah. And the ending was more than disappointing.
yeah. See, that's the thing. Um, All right, I'm going to talk real quick to the independent filmmakers out there that might be watching this. Make sure that your beginning is off the hook, crazy fun. Also, make sure your ending is good, because really the ending is what people remember. If they watch the whole movie, that's what they're going to remember. They're not going to remember what happened in the first 5 minutes of the movie, technically. Sometimes they will, and that's why I say make sure it's good, because it's going to keep people's attention. First 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes, always the most crucial part of making a movie. And a lot of these people think, oh, well, they'll forgive me because we're going to make a sequel. The thing is, not many independent filmmakers can make a sequel to movies. It takes a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of, if you're lucky, a lot of times you move on to another project and you're like, oh, I'll get back to that, and you never do. So
Yeah.
don't plan your movie on it's going to have 10 sequels or whatever, become a franchise. That's most likely not going to happen. Plan your movie like Star Wars did. Star Wars is the best example to me of a way, it tied up everything at the end. Then, they had the big, like award, thing at the end, like the big party at the end. Then the second one did the same exact thing. It's sort of like, sort of like they tied everything up, even though there were still stuff that's going to leave it for the next one, you know? That's how you got to treat it, because if you don't and you leave it and nothing's tied up, what, people are going to be confused. And just like us, we
Yeah.
want to know what was going to happen. I was hoping there was like ending was like there's going to be a PS or something, like a post credit sequence where you'll see her surviving, and maybe she gets she finds a weapon on the ground, or whatever, and now she's going to go back and try to fight him or something, like something more than what they gave us.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I believe that. I believe you should, get them hooked in the beginning, and then the ending, you should leave them wanting more.
Exactly. And this movie did sort of want more, but in the wrong context. We wanted more because we want to know more,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, because
that's
you gave such a great ending, and you want a sequel because it was so good you didn't want it to end.
right. So you
Not
want to,
like you want more because you didn't produce enough more.
well, yeah, and it was sort of like, yeah, it sort of became the ending where I'm like, wait a minute, I want more. I want to know what the hell is going on. But whatever. Everybody, it's a movie that I watched from beginning to end with no, cares about anything else. Like I was really excited for it. I like the killer. I like the puppeteer. I love Charles Bronson. Robert Bronzy guy. I mean, I liked it all. Um, so I hope they do make a sequel out of it. I would watch that. Cry
Yeah,
Havoc
I would.
too.
I would definitely watch it too.
Would it be Cry More Havoc? I mean, I'm trying to think of
Or
sequel
maybe
names.
cry less havoc.
Less Havoc. Oh
Yes,
no.
yes, because you don't want to cry over him. You want to, you know,
You want to
you
cry
want to cry
less?
less.
I don't know. I want to cry more when I'm watching it. But that I do that for a lot of indie films. I'm like, I'm crying because and I did this show as a way to kind of watch these movies that I normally wouldn't be watching, and not because I don't want to, just because normally I don't have time. So I'm like, well, if I do 31 days of indie horror, I can watch these movies actually because I have time, because I'm putting it into my schedule. And Renee Perez is something I've been wanting to watch, and I'm looking forward to more stuff from these guys. I think they're gonna be big in the indie world, bigger than they already are. So if they just keep at it, that's what's gonna happen. My opinion.
Yeah, I believe too. I'm interested to watch other of the movies, done by him.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much. This is awesome. Please stick around.
You're
But
very welcome.
everybody else, thank you guys for watching this. Join us tomorrow for another episode, and check out sickflickproductions.com, indiefilmcafe.reviews, indiefilmcafe.podbean.com. And if you really want to help us out, patreon.com/indiefilmcafe. So thank you guys for checking this out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know what you guys thought of Cry Havoc. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you guys think? We would love to hear from you guys. So thank you for letting us this review, and check us out. Check out the show tomorrow. Bye.